Hi everyone, Archer with a Sword here. So, here's the scenario. You are a third grade teacher and you bring in one student. You bring in two students. One of them first though, both of them are boys, let's say. You bring the first one in and you say, okay, what did we do today in class? Or what was class like today? And he says, well, we learned about fractions, we worked on our times tables, I had a little trouble with the sevens, but you helped me out and now I know how to do it. We read Charlotte's Web and, stuff like that, and then, Billy said something, I heard Billy whisper something, and then you addressed it, and, you wanted him to answer a question, then Billy got it wrong. And then we moved on to science, and science was really cool because we were going to learn how to make baking soda volcanoes, or whatever that is. And he's like, alright, cool. You as the teacher are like, okay, awesome. And then you bring in the second student, his name is Billy. And, you ask the same question, Billy, what did we do in class today? What happened in class today? And Billy says, okay, so we started off with math, which is really my least favorite, and I think we had something to do with fractions, but I really couldn't tell because I saw Susan pass Kathy a note, and I don't think Kathy really noticed that it was there because she was too busy paying attention to Connor, and I think she has a crush on Connor because she keeps wearing this vanilla body spray that's, making me want to gag, and I really wish she would stop spraying it. Oh, speaking of Connor, can you please tell him to stop kicking my chair or using it as a footstool, whatever? Either that or just have me move spots. I really don't mind. And then he kept doing it and I told him to stop. And then you said, hey Billy, are you paying attention? And then you said, can you figure out this problem? And then I looked down at the page. I said, the page on 309. You said, no, the page on 313. And I really wasn't there, so I had to skip a few pages and I was kind of lost, and I ended up getting the problem wrong. We read Charlotte's Web, something about some pig, I think. Again, Kathy and Susie were whispering again. I think they're having girl drama, I just don't know what it's about yet. And then, learning, baking soda volcano. Yeah, we're going to do that in science. And so you as a teacher are wondering who's the brighter student. Would it be, your first student? Bobby? Sure, Bobby. Bobby who, is paying attention to the lesson, or would it be Billy who, is paying attention to other things? The answer is both of them are bright students. Honestly. Both of them are being very, what's the word I'm looking for? Both of them are paying attention just to different things. Both of them, care a lot about what they're paying attention to. It's just, you want Billy to focus on class, but Billy can't help but focus on other things. But he's really good at what he's paying attention to. He's really excited about the baking soda volcano. He believes that these girls are having girl drama whenever maybe Bobby didn't notice the girl drama. He can smell the perfume or the body spray that one girl is putting on, and he thinks it's because she has a crush on the boy who's kicking his seat. He's paying attention to all these things, and he's being very observant, just not in the right direction. But both students are very, very bright. So a few episodes ago, I talked about my Tourette's and I talked about my ADD and ADHD. And I'm going to say that for most people, it does start out at a young age. And I picked third grade because that's when it happened to me. And I picked, starting off with a math class because math was what I couldn't focus on for the longest time. The thing is, people with... Hang on. Let me just briefly, and this is just the Google description. Hyperactive. So ADD and ADHD, it's basically a chronic condition including attention difficulty, hyperactivity, and impulsiveness. That sounds a little harsh, but it's, well, removing you. But it's absolutely true. Like I stated before, with ADD and ADHD, they often are combining the two now because it's very rare to see one without the other. But it can still happen. But, you know, kids, like, they're like, you know, supposedly they can't focus on anything, but that's not true. When there's something that they really, really care about, like, say, how Billy was so excited about learning, you know, to make a baking soda volcano, he's going to be more interested in, and he's going to pay more attention in something that's going to grab his attention. He's going to want to learn about it. And that also has, like, a lot to do with VAK, I can't read, my laptop's open, sorry. VAK learning styles. And this isn't just for people with ADD and ADHD, this is everyone. Everyone has a specific learning style that, you know, helps them. And this starts, you know, very, very young. And it continues to grow as you go into high school, you graduate, and you get a job. And once you figure out what you or your child has, maybe you can play up to what might help them focus or what might spark their interest in getting them engaged in learning. So first is visual. Visual learners, usually they focus on things like as if there's like a diagram or a picture that they can look at. If someone is teaching a lecture and, you know, say my anatomy and physiology professor pulls up, you know, the slides of notes and stuff, and she's talking about the heart. She's like telling us where, you know, each atrium and ventricle and valve goes and stuff. It's like, well, that's great, but I'd love to see a picture of that. See, if you have like a picture or a model that goes with what the teacher is saying, then, you know, some people just can click. And that is for anyone. Usually visuals help a lot of people. Now, sometimes there are some people who can, you know, listen to a lecture or read the book, and they don't have to look at, you know, a visual aid. But for a lot of people, it's very, very helpful. Even in an office, this isn't just, you know, at school. In an office, whenever someone is, you know, giving a presentation and they're explaining maybe a new design. They're explaining how it's going to work and stuff. They wouldn't just talk about it. They would hand out, you know, pamphlets, or they would, you know, set up a PowerPoint, and they would show pictures. They would show the design being drawn out, and then, you know, a 3D model or whatever. And that will help, you know, lots of people focus on the idea and be like, oh, I know what, yeah, we can make that work. Auditory learners are, you know, people who can just sit and listen, and they can just absorb what is being spoken like a sponge. These people are like super great, truly. Like, just to be able to hear something and then just it's there. They might have to listen to it over and over with, like, you know, repetition or something like that, but like, these guys are great. Like me, I am a little bit auditory when it comes to reading a book. We're going to get in, like, there are 3 main, you know, learning styles, but a variant is reading and writing. So people who read something over and over, or they write it over and over, they get that repetition, they can usually memorize it. And what they do is they memorize, you know, the sentence, and they pick out keywords, and they can look for those words if they see them again somewhere else. Me, whenever I'm reading a book, sometimes I have to read a sentence over and over and over again to understand what's going on, or to get that visualization, to get like a visual aid like in my mind processed. So something like an audiobook. Like an audiobook, if I'm listening to it, I can, you know, be visualizing it and, you know, hearing it at the same time. And let's see. I have to make sure that I am saying this right. The third is kinesthetic. Kinesthetic. Sure. Just take my word for it. That's totally how it's pronounced. Kinesthetic are doers. These are the people who like to physically do it. Like Billy, he's so excited to do that baking soda volcano because he's going to actively be making this volcano, pouring in the baking soda and vinegar, and watching it, work. This is why, a lot of science classes have labs. It's because, you can explain chemical reactions, and you can explain, the pH scale and stuff like that, and your students are like, yep, that goes there, sure, okay. But they don't know how it really impacts their life. So when you have, even something as simple as hey, let's, check the pH in the pool. It's like, oh, that's why you check the pH in the pool. Yeah, okay, yeah. So, things that you can do, and you can, do yourself, and, can I stop saying just for 1 second, please? Things that you can put into real world terms are excellent. That is primarily what I am. If I can do it myself, if I can see how something works, then I can apply it to what I see in a textbook or what I hear in a lecture. Now, this isn't the end of VAK learning styles. The thing is, not everybody is just one thing. Not everyone is just a visual learner or an auditory learner. You have mixes and types and different types of styles. You might have a visual kinesthetic learner, or you might have an auditory reading writing learner. You might have someone who is all of the above or none of the above. But that's not entirely true. See, a lot of times some teachers who just don't get it, or some people who just don't get it, think that what they are doing, they go by a very strict learning style. You read it first, and then we do a lecture on it, and then we might have a project where you do something with your hands. And if your student can't really do well in either of them, then it means that they don't have a style at all. But that's not true. It's just for people with ADD and ADHD, it's very hard for them to pinpoint what they are. And it could be that they are all of the above. But, teachers might focus on reading and writing, or they might focus on auditory, when your pupil is more visual and more kinesthetic. Much like, I am. Actually, I think I'm a little bit of everything. And that's the thing. Everybody's a little bit of something, but primarily you might have one or two of these. And I'm pointing over here because that's where my laptop is, and that's where I'm looking. So today we're talking mainly about the learning styles. I'm going to go into, methods for ADD or ADHD later on. But I just want to get this out of the way. I might do some more recording today. I'm not really sure. My mouth is super dry and I haven't had much to drink today, which is not healthy. But I'm going to fix that. It's really great to be doing videos again. So to summarize everything, you've got visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and reading and writing learning styles. And everybody is going to be, one or the other, or a group of different ones. Everyone is going to learn differently. But for people with ADD and ADHD, it might be harder to pinpoint what they are, and it might make it harder for them if they're learning just visually, or reading and writing, or just auditory from a teacher or whoever. It might be harder for them to really focus because that's just not their learning style, and they don't really know how to engage their professor or engage, their parent and say, hey, this isn't working, but I don't really know what else to do about it. So if you're a parent and your teacher, says, I don't think that they're focusing, or if your child says, I don't really know what else to do, all they're doing is reading the book out loud to us, or you yourself, just don't feel like you can do anything, talk to someone. Talk to, if you're a parent, talk with your teacher, your child's teacher, and say, this isn't really working, but I think I know what might, or we need to go on the internet, do some digging, see if there are flashcards, see if there are, videos, songs, little things that we can make up, other ways that we can learn. My mom and I did flashcards to death when it came to spelling words. And that really helped because of repetition, because of seeing it, because I was engaging, with my mother. Just a little bit of everything really helped. And maybe a little bit of everything will help, you or your child. And you can maybe focus in on one that helps the most. Anyway, that was really long-winded, I know, and it might be a little confusing, but I hope some of that resonated. This is Archer with a Sword, signing out. Bye! We're ending on a blackout.